History often treats the year 1526 as a tidy finish line. We're taught that Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi at Panipat, claimed Delhi, and comfortably unpacked his bags to start the Mughal Empire. But by 1527, Babur was practically a hostage in his new capital. His Central Asian soldiers were miserable in the blistering Indian heat, entirely alienated by the local language and lifestyle, and actively begging to retreat home. Removing the Lodi dynasty didn't secure the subcontinent, it kicked over a hornet's nest. By squatting in Agra, Babur agitated the region's actual military heavyweights, rulers who had simply been waiting for the foreign invaders to pack up and leave. Panipat handed Babur a crown, but unless he survived the impending backlash of 1527, his empire would collapse before it even started. That backlash came from Mewar. Here, Rana Sanga, born Sangram Singh, was rapidly assembling a massive confederacy of Rajput kings and chieftains with a single unified objective: expel the Mughals. Sanga commanded absolute respect through his own physical sacrifice. Over a lifetime of continuous combat, he had accumulated more than 80 distinct battle scars. He fought missing an eye, lacking an arm, and limping on an injured leg. To his men, this ability to absorb staggering amounts of damage made him practically immortal. To Babur's isolated and exhausted forces, reports of this scarred warlord leading an enormous, unified army triggered widespread panic and mutiny. Sanga represented a philosophy of warfare centered on raw, uncompromising physical courage. For Babur, defeating him was the absolute requirement to survive in India. Facing a terrified army on the brink of desertion, Babur orchestrated a drastic psychological reset. He publicly smashed his royal wine vessels and swore an oath to give up alcohol entirely. He stood before his men and dismantled the idea that they were fighting for territory. He reframed the impending clash as a desperate, holy defense of their honor and their very lives. In March 1527, the two forces met near the village of Khanwa. Rana Sanga relied on the traditional mechanics of Rajput warfare: overwhelming numbers and devastating head-on cavalry charges designed to crush enemy lines through sheer mass and momentum. Babur countered this threat with a strictly defensive formation anchored by technology. He deployed the Araba, a continuous, fortified line of heavy carts tied together with leather ropes, shielding his early gunpowder infantry and artillery. The battle opened with the Rajputs launching a terrifying frontal assault, pouring thousands of cavalrymen directly into the Mughal center. Despite the bullets and the fortifications, the intensity of Sanga's forces was overwhelming. Their relentless wave of attacks severely strained the Mughal formation, pushing Babur's army to the very edge of collapse. Here, the physics of Babur's preparation took over. The cart line absorbed the charge, stripping the cavalry's momentum. Pinned against the wooden barricades, Rajput soldiers became stationary targets for the Mughal cannons. With Sanga's horse stalled, Babur executed the Talugma. Mobile cavalry swept from the rear, curving around to encircle the trapped army. Amidst the deafening crossfire, Rana Sanga was struck violently in the head by a projectile. The legendary warlord fell unconscious. In that specific fraction of a second, the limits of the human body were exposed. No amount of chivalric bravery or physical endurance could withstand the calculated output of iron and gunpowder. Sanga's commanders rapidly evacuated him from the battlefield. Without their seemingly invincible leader, the psychological backbone of the massive Rajput alliance snapped. Confusion rippled through the ranks. Babur's flanking units closed the trap, routing the disorganized confederacy. While Rana Sanga survived the day, he died shortly afterward, taking his vision of a unified Mewar empire with him. While Panipat gave Babur a foothold, Khanwa is the moment he secured his throne for the next 3 centuries. The battle proved a harsh, mechanical reality. Regional powers realized that traditional mass charges against entrenched artillery lines were effectively suicidal. Khanwa was the pivot point. It proved that the mechanics of warfare had evolved. The era defined by the strength of a sword arm had closed, replaced by the precise, lethal geometry of the cannon.